Anne comes from Port Hope, and she does an incredible life-altering workshop on positive thought energy. Which maybe we could do that. I think a lot of us could use that. So I'd like to welcome Carole Anne to the phone.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Firstly, I'd like to read from what I call my little book of knowledge. It's a book called Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. And when I first saw this book, I chucked it in a drawer because the title just totally turned me off. It stayed there for a year and a half until my spirit guides and teachers told me that I had to take it out and start reading it. And now I find so much incredible truth in it. I find it awe-inspiring. It's just, all of my knowledge has come from there and my spirit guides and teachers. So I would like to read for you yesterday and today's reading. Let me help you through this day. The challenges you face are far too great for you to handle alone. You are keenly aware of your helplessness in the scheme of events you face. This awareness opens up choice, too doggedly to go it alone or walk with me in humble steps of dependence. Actually, this choice is continually before you, but difficulties highlight decision-making process. So consider it all joy whenever you are enveloped in various trials. These gifts from me remind you to rely on me alone. Save your best striving for seeking my face. I am continually communicating with you. To find me and hear my voice, you must seek me above all else. Anything else you desire more becomes an idol. When you are determined to get your own way, you blot me out of your consciousness. Instead of single-mindedly pursuing some goal, talk with me about it. Let the light of my presence shine on this pursuit so that you can see it from my perspective. If the goal fits into my plans for you, I will help you reach it. If it's contrary to my will for you, I will gradually change the desire in your heart. Seek me first and foremost, when the rest of your life will fall into place, piece by piece. Thank you. Trust is something I base my life on now. I come up here empty-handed. I don't know what I'm going to talk about until I get up here, and I trust in Him to provide for me what it is that I am going to talk about, because every time I get up here and I make plans, they change it. So I've given up on preparing speeches because every time I do, they change it. What I have found is that when I trust in them, they always provide a path for me. And trust is such an incredible thing. When I first started down my journey, my mom passed away 2 years ago, last January, and probably a couple of months later she came to me and kicked me in my pants and got me on my spiritual journey. And the first thing my spiritual guides said to me was, my mission was to learn to trust in them, absolutely. And I thought, that won't be too hard. That was a foolish mistake on my part. And I started learning. And a couple of months later, I was having a conversation with my brother, and I became very aware that the Spirit wanted to talk through me. But he'd been drinking, so I didn't feel very comfortable with that. So I made excuses. No, not the right time, not the right place. And I was up in the bathroom later that evening getting ready for bed, and they said to me, if it were not safe, we would not have allowed it. And I just going, whack. I just failed my first test. And I'm going, but that's okay, I know there'll be others. Sure enough, there was. 2 weeks later, they said to me, take your book and go up to Oshawa Church, to Owen's church actually, and be prepared to give the lecture if the lecturer does not show up. And me and my pride said, okay, I could do that, having no clue what I faced. And I could not have, of course, but I went, I took my book, and the lecturer showed up, and I said, okay. In the back of my head it said, yeah, it was just a test, and I was right, it was. But I passed it, and I said, yay, look at you, you passed the test. And 2 Sunday mornings later, I'm sitting there reading my book, because I read my book every day now. And they wouldn't let me read my book, and I'm going, what the heck's going on? Pick up a pen, and they made me write out an outline to a lecture. I'm going, okay, fine, I can give that to somebody, they can use that. Next Sunday morning, my local church called in Coburg, and they said, our lecture canceled. Do you want to do a lecture? I said, okay, I can. And they said, what about messages? I said, I can do a couple, but I'd appreciate backup. And they said, okay, you can do that. So I went downstairs and started typing out, and I'm just 2-finger typist, but I started typing out on the keyboard my lecture to fill it in, and I had to say, slow down, guys, I can't type that fast. And the words were just coming. And next thing I know, I had a lecture prepared, and away it went. And came time to give messages. Because there was a storm that night, of course, there was only like 12 people there, and I got up to give messages, and I started going around the circle, and holy cow, my guides gave messages to everybody there, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was totally amazed, and went out the car, and I said, thank you to my spirit guides. I said, what the heck just happened? And they said, we were working with you, and that's all that needs to be said. The next week, Sunday morning came around, Oshawa Church called, Owen's church, and said, our lecture canceled, do you want to lecture? And I said, sure, okay, I got something here, I can do that. So I said to my spirit guides, no, that was on a Saturday. I said, okay, so we're going to do this, right? And they said, no. I said, what do you mean, no? They said, no, you can't use that lecture, you've already used it. What am I going to do? Take me down the keyboard, next thing I know, I'm slow down, I can't type that fast. And I got another lecture, and when they asked me to do message, I asked for a second, and they said, sure, we'll give you a second. So I got up and I gave my lecture, and the only criticism was, remember that you have an audience, because I have dyslexia, and if I don't look at my notes and I get off on the wrong line, I'm really messed up, so. And it was a good criticism, and it was fair. And when I got up to give messages, I start going bang, bang, bang. I had to remember I had a second, so I had to give up my messages and let the second go. But I realized then that my spirit guides were with me so strong that I didn't need a second for messages. It's like, wow, thank you guys. And that's what trust does. When you trust, you allow them to work through you. There's no longer any doubt. It is just so darn incredible. And that's all I can really say about that. That's what learning all of this is about. It's learning about trust. It's so right in here. And then I gave a lecture in Warkworth, and it was on the belief system, and I said, it was so funny. So I thought it was inappropriate, but I said, you know, religion says believe because it's written, or believe because the guy up there behind the pulpit says so. That's what religion is. And I said, spiritualism isn't like that. It's like, if it doesn't fit in here, kick that crap out, because this is where the Church of Christ is. It's right here. So if it doesn't fit in here, it doesn't fit with the Church of Christ. And everybody kind of looked at me and said, what? You said crap in church? Well, yeah. But it flows from the heart. And that's where Jesus is. It's right here. Everybody has him right here. When you start to trust what's in here, how can you go wrong? Everybody says, I had a feeling that something wasn't right, so I listened to it. Well, yeah, that's him speaking to you. This is like, wow. And when you learn to trust what's in your heart, how can you go wrong? How can any of us go wrong? It's just like most people don't realize that he is that close to us. And he is. I have learned so much from that little book and from my spirit guides and teachers. And they've now taught me positive thought therapy, how to teach people to change their thinking, to change their life. Change their thinking and change the whole way we perceive the world. Because the world is still perfect, right the way he made it. And it's so incredibly awesome. You don't have to worry about anything. So they kind of wanted me to give you a little demonstration of how easy it is to let go of the things that really bother you. We all hold pain in our hearts, and we all have anger and shame that we don't need anymore. So, to close this out, I just wanted to show you all a very quick breathing exercise that I share with people that I work with online, because I do work with the Christ energy when I teach. It's what I do. I believe so much in the Christ energy. So I'm going to get you all to take 3 slow, deep, intentional breaths. But before I do that, I would like you to focus on him. Okay? Because he's a very big part of everything that we know. So as you empty your lungs and take your first slow, deep, intentional breath, I want you to breathe in his light and say in your head, I am his light, and fill your lungs with his light. And as you exhale, let go of pain and anger that's in your hearts, and know that it does not serve you. It does not serve you in the least. Let it go, let it go, let it go. As you take your second deep breath in, breathe in his love and his light, and say, I am his love and I am his light. Breathe that in and let it fill your bodies. And as you exhale, let go of guilt, anger, and shame that you hold in your heart. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And as you take your third deep intentional breath, breathe in His light, His love, and His peace. And let those things fill your body. Let it remain there for the week. As you allow your breathing to return to normal, know that He has loved you since the dawn of time. He has never let go of your hand. He's always been there for you. He walks with you every day. He's always there. Anytime you ask Him for help, He's always there. All you have to say is, help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus. He's right there for you. Thank you.